Today we are going to talk about one of the most popular topics right now in the market, which are remote jobs. How do we get a remote job? So for people who don't know me, I'm Jaideep, the founder of India's largest mentor community app called Mentro, and I worked at places like Vedantu, Jio. I also happened to did GSOC in my college twice. So remote is not equals to easy. Remote essentially means high ownership and responsibility. So we'll be diving deep into the 2026 job trends, very realistic and honest, skills that actually matter, companies remote hiring किधर कर रही हैं, कैसे stand out करें इंडिया से, and most importantly, what are the salary expectations you should have. So if you go back in 2019 when COVID hit, from 2020 to 2023, there was a period where companies were remote friendly. Everyone was hiring for remote jobs. People were very happy. They were getting high salaries sitting at their homes. Then came a time from 2024 to 2025 where companies started calling back their employees in the office. People were dissatisfied. People were unhappy because of course आपको अपना comfort छोड़ के वापस office जाना पड़ रहा है. Then again those same boring routines came back into the picture. 2026 surprisingly is going to be a hybrid friendly model. So why? There are some reasons to it. Companies want global talent without relocation headaches for cost savings. So US salary ka 1/3 में you actually get the same quality talent from India. Remote contractor roles are exploding. So what is even a remote contractor? So this is basically where a company gives you a contract for X amount of time. But now coming to the actual catch, remote jobs is not for everyone. Only high signal, high ownership, self-driven people will get remote roles. So इसका मतलब क्या है? तुम्हारी communication strong होनी चाहिए, work independence होना चाहिए. You should not be dependent on other people to come back every time for your work. Proof of work होना चाहिए. So सिर्फ CV में projects नहीं, but actual proof of work which shows your credibility. So talking about the dev skills that you should focus on if you're looking at a software developer kind of remote role. So there are three major primary options for you available. First one is being Node.js, second being Golang, third being Python. So Node.js, of course, probably is one of the popular frameworks being used largely by student developers across India. Golang is something which a lot of, companies from outside India are using, right? So think about a company like Gojek. Python gives you a lot of options with majorly two frameworks, one being Django and the other being Fast API. So these two frameworks are pretty popular right now in India. So whatever you choose out of these three, be very good at its fundamentals. Coming to front end, you majorly have two options in 2026. That's how I like to call it, because earlier, of course, there were options like React.js, Angular. Even today, there are companies hiring for this. But if you are going to pick up something for the first time, probably I see two options, one being React Native and the other being Flutter. So pick any one of them. Flutter is of course a Google's product, so you'll find a lot of marketing of Flutter being done by Google directly on Twitter and other social media platforms. But whatever you pick, go very deep, right? Both of these frameworks or SDKs, as you would like to call it, are cross-platform. So essentially you can write code at once and these will get rendered on multiple platforms with the same code. So mobile first software is the future, and that's why companies are choosing cross-platform frameworks like Flutter and React Native. Next, the kind of roles which a lot of companies are hiring for are the SRE or the DevOps people, right? So SRE stands for Site Reliability Engineers. So this is one of those roles which companies will actually hesitate to hand over completely to AI. So no company would like to hand over their entire infrastructure. Start learning tools like Jenkins. Know about platforms, cloud server running platforms like either GCP or AWS. GCP is Google's, AWS is Amazon's, or even something like Azure by Microsoft. So coming to the AI side of things, learn to use platforms like LangChain and n8n, which I was mentioning earlier. These platforms essentially help you orchestrate different tools based on LLM reasoning, right? So you can literally set up entire workflows of the entire company, right from marketing to sales to tech. So you can create entire workflows directly on a dashboard like setup on a platform like n8n, right? So if you haven't even checked out these platforms, it's high time you actually do it, because I'm super bullish that these platforms are going to find their place in the market going forward, and there are actually going to be jobs where people are searching for techies or engineers who can use these platforms. So now that we are done with the technical skills, it's very important that we also talk about the real secret weapon, which are your communication skills. So remote hiring mein, communication is actually, surprisingly much, more important than your coding skills. People don't tend to think out loud. They think that the, person or the interviewer in front of them will start judging them. That is one of the most, undervalued, statements where when I say that it's always good to think out loud. Just, whatever you're thinking in your head, just speak out. Right? Because only two things can happen. Either you are going in the wrong direction completely, where probably the interviewer will help you or direct you to the right direction. So it's only for the better. Or secondly, if you're actually thinking some good things, right? Probably you're already going in the right direction and are thinking of a lot of clever ideas. Probably the interviewer will get impressed. Secondly, documenting decisions. So whenever you're thinking or talking, if there's a decision-making statement, make sure you are writing it down. Thirdly, ability to speak concisely on calls or over meetings, because of course the last thing you would want is to you being the reason for a meeting getting spilled over, right? Neither you would want that, or probably even the people involved in the meeting would just want that meeting to end. So again, being very pragmatic here. Fourthly, asynchronous work discipline, because of course if you're doing India say remote job, you have to be 2x clearer than a local hire, right? Because that essentially is what is setting you apart. So now talking about what do you actually need to apply for a remote job out there. I personally think that the times of those traditional resumes or CVs where you were just listing out projects that you have built is actually dead. Companies are right now looking for proof of work on which they can actually bank that you will be able to do the designated work whenever you join them. So the best way to showcase that is to actually work on real problem statements. So when I say real problem statement, these can be very niche problems which probably 10 people around you are having. This doesn't have to be essentially the next $1 billion startup idea. So these should be niche problem statements which probably 10 people around you are facing, and you could be the best person to solve that. And probably while you're doing that, try to go extra mile and get some real users on your project. I'm not talking about get probably 1 million users on your product or whatever you're building. Go out in the market, do sales and marketing. Even like, let's say if you're able to get 100 your seniors or juniors from your college, it's a good thing, right? You can actually mention these numbers on your portfolio. Then probably the next task becomes to make a portfolio website where you can showcase your these specific niche down projects which you have built in very detailed fashion, right? So don't just write the title that hey, this is probably what XYZ project. Since it's a very niche down project, it's solving a very custom problem statement, very real problem statement which the larger audience is not aware of. So if you're essentially making a resume, make a very simple good format resume. Probably a single column resume works the best. That's what I believe. Forget all the fancy templates which you have been told about. No colors. A simple black and white single column resume works like a charm, trust me. So now talking about where do you apply. So I'll be sharing about 3 popular platforms that I personally like. So firstly, we have this website called wellfound.com. So for people who have been applying probably since 5 years back, they know that this platform was earlier called Angel List. So this is a pretty good website for jobs essentially outside of India. You will find jobs from Europe, you'll find jobs from Canada, you'll find jobs from US. So if I just go to the browse job section and try to see what kind of roles are available. So of course, as you see, Bright Lights is a company who is hiring in New York, right? The salary band is also very clearly mentioned, 150K to 220K USD. Then again, you have Benable, which is again a remote only company, again hiring in the United States, having a salary band of 110K to 170K USD. Again, we have a Europe-based company called Equal Parts, right? They are hiring a front-end developer with a salary band of 125K to 175K USD. So it's pretty clear as well on this platform. So you can just create a profile, upload your resume, apply now. Like again, a very general process which any hiring platform has. But yeah, this Wellfound is definitely one of those platforms which I bank heavily on if you are applying for a remote job. Secondly, there's a startup accelerator very famous from San Francisco, which is called the Y Combinator, right? So probably YC is again one of the most desired accelerators or venture capitals, whatever you would like to call, for startups coming out from India or anywhere in the world. So if you just go to Y Combinator's website, you'll find a section called startup jobs, if you can see. So here you'll find a lot of these YC companies, hiring and posting their jobs right on their portal itself. Again, very, very clear of what exactly are you signing up for. For example, this company called Hey Charge, which was in the summer 21 batch, they are hiring for all these open roles, which are again very listed very clearly, right? So you have the senior backend engineer, you have the head of engineering. Actually can also have technical roles as well as non-technical roles. So if you're a person who is looking for a non-technical job, this is also a very good place to look for. So again, they are hiring in Munich, right? So it's a Germany based company. So if you're looking to move to Europe, probably you can apply here. Again, you have a SF based company called Chef, right? They are hiring a software engineer full stack, again a salary band of 100k to 130k USD. So yeah, so this is probably one of the most underrated job portals, because of course people think Y Combinator as a only a startup accelerator. Very few job seekers come to a portal like YC. And thirdly, of course, it goes without saying, it's probably LinkedIn Jobs, right? However, overrated LinkedIn can be, it still probably is one of those portals that actually gives you results, right? So I'm sure most of you would already been using LinkedIn quite a lot, but yeah, LinkedIn Jobs still continues to be one of those platforms that gives you results. If you are consistent with it and you actually apply to the correct roles which matches your profile, you will definitely get results out of it. So another secret hack apart from these platforms which I just mentioned is probably going to be if you can be very active on a platform like X or Twitter, however you want to call it, follow some startup founders and some venture capitalist profiles on Twitter. Of course, it's very easy to find people in whatever niche you actually want to follow of. Subscribe to them or just follow them and be very super proactive on Twitter. So you'll be able to see whenever, let's say, a VC firm is investing funds into a certain startup. So once you find this post coming from them, the next thing you should do is DM this founder or DM this founding team member, whoever just posted, with a very crisp message, what you do, how you can help them, and why should they hire you. That's it. Cold email them the same if you happen to have their email ID. Trust me, this works like a charm, right? Make sure this doesn't look spammy. Don't forward a templated message which probably you're sending to 100 other people. Make it very customized. Make it very specific to their company. Probably it will be best that if you can include certain highlights or certain things about being very specific to their company. So probably one thing that you really like what they are doing, or you're really excited about what they're about to build going forward with the kind of funds they have raised. So mention all those things. So be very specific, why you want to work with them. Not really. So this shouldn't sound like you just are looking for another job, because trust me, no one gives jobs for people who are looking for jobs. So try to act like someone who is really enthusiastic to work with a certain set of people and make it very clear to them. So now coming to the salary expectations, you're looking at a salary band range of 60 lakhs to 1 CR in terms of the Indian currency. Whereas if I'm talking about for the Europe-based startups, it's in the range of 40 lakhs to 80 lakhs. Of course, you can reach to 1 CR and even way beyond that, but it again depends on the size of the company and the nature of the company, what kind of seniority they are looking to hire for. But definitely, if I'm just considering the average mid-level kind of engineer, this is the band that you're looking for. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.